Here in Boston, winter weather is expected to hang around for at least a few more days, but people in need can still get some help with fuel assistance thanks to the program administered locally by ABCD. To explain how to get help is our guest from ABCD, the Energy Programs Manager, Kathy Tobin. Thank you very much for being with us, Kathy. First, I want to talk about what it's been like for people just the past few days here.
Well, it's been incredibly awful for people because they have run out of their fuel assistance benefit, and some people thought they could make it through the winter, and at the last minute they realized they can't. So they've been calling, and we've been helping, which is a good thing. Otherwise, they would go without heat.
Well, some of us, at least when we're younger, we've got all this vitality that's stored up. We can throw on a sweater and hang in there a little bit, but what about older people who might be going through this for a prolonged period?
Well, it's terrible and it's extremely dangerous because hypothermia affects the elderly as well as the very young very quickly. And if one is not warm, if they have no heat, if they're using their gas stove, that's dangerous. They shouldn't be doing that. It's a problem. And people will just take on unsafe challenges to try and keep warm. So it's not good.
Now, of course, one of the other things I understand you've been doing is helping some younger adults come back home. They've just had a baby in the hospital, and of course, they're going to really make sure that there's a warm home waiting.
Right. Late last week on a Friday afternoon, we probably got more than 10 to 15 calls from different hospitals around the area where a few mothers just had an infant. They weren't allowed to go home unless there was heat. There were some people who had surgery. They want to go home. They've been in the hospital, but they have no heat. So we were able to provide them with the heat.
Well, talk about what's going on with the deadline here, because that's one thing that's changing for applicants.
Right. So we're extending our application deadline from April 3rd to May 12th. That gives people 2 more weeks to get their application in. And it's well worth the effort for all the other benefits that come with not only helping with the heating bill, but with weatherization and a new heating system perhaps, and things like that.
Explain that help. I know that's mainly long-term help, but it's certainly very important.
Oh, sure, because it saves so much money on their heating costs. Weatherization will save them at least 25%. A heating system, well, that's a matter of safety and efficiency because you'll burn less fuel, whether it be oil or gas. You still want those costs to go down.
And one thing that certainly comes to my mind is if you have a faulty system, whether it's for oil or natural gas, that might have something to do with the risk of carbon monoxide exposure too.
Yeah, and we've seen too many of that happen this season in other parts of the state, which is a very sad thing because it's a deadly silent killer. You don't even know you're being affected. You could be asleep at night, and it's a dangerous thing.
Of course, one of the good things about weatherization, there are a lot of things that can be very helpful and they can be done very quickly too.
Oh yeah, we can go in and do insulation, we can do air sealing. We're there to lock up all those drafty areas where the fuel is just going right out the doors and the windows.
What about the income eligibility for fuel assistance?
Well, let me give you an example. A household of 1, the maximum income is about $34,000, and for a household of 4, it's $65,000.
So I can imagine a lot of elderly people, a lot of single parents with children, they could certainly qualify for that.
Absolutely, and I hope they give us a call if they haven't applied already. Come to any one of our offices. We have offices all over the city of Boston, Brookline and Newton as well.
Of course, the other factor here is getting money from the federal government. There's always been a certain amount of suspense to that. So where are we with this right now?
Well, it's a big question mark. We're still working with a budget that was from last year, FY 216. They have yet to finalize the 2017 budget, and we hear possibly by April, so we just don't know.
Finally, we should make sure we explain that if people want to get some help, there's a phone number they can call, at least the Boston number.
Yeah, excuse me. The Boston number is 617-357-6012. And let me mention that the maximum benefit right now is $1,100. So people need to apply.
That can make a very big difference. And of course, you also have the website that people can go to for information.
Yep, bostonabcd.org.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Chris.
Kathy Tobin from ABCD. In a moment, we'll hear about a musical showdown between tenors and baritones.